Hey guys, John here once again from the Toshi Station, and we're just going to go through Star Wars Shattered Empire number 4. This is the final issue in this four issue run. It's been pretty good so far. We've had kind of like an overview of what was going on. Second issue going into a little more Shara Bay. Third issue having a little bit of Kess and what he was up to, and the Strike Force taking out some more Imperial strongholds and stuff like that. And then them meeting up at the end of the book there, just making sure that everyone was okay. But we're going to go through number 4 here and then maybe give just kind of my thoughts towards the end there and go from there. So let's check it out.
Okay, so here we see the cover, Star Wars Shattered Empire number 4. We see a battle taking place with Shara Bay, and we see Luke Skywalker. Looks like they're like an Imperial outpost of some sort with ATST in the background and a bunch of Imperial troops. Pretty awesome cover. Kind of just following up with the last two, even though the first one, is, like I said before, was a little bit different. But pretty awesome cover, and we'll get right into the story. So in the first couple of pages here, we see we're back at the Rebel Fleet Command, Muster Point Stalwart. They're saying that the ongoing Imperial operations targeting another dozen worlds, and there's really no sign of them slowing down their advance. So they're trying to basically take the Emperor Palpatine's last orders and, bring them to fruition as best they can. But even with the rebellion's early victory over Naboo, there's no sign of them slowing down whatsoever. So they're actually gearing up for another attack. We see Shara Bay and her alien friend here. He's going on saying to her that, I know your husband has put in his paperwork and that it's been approved for them to be released from duty. He took the liberty and submitted Shara's as well. And he's basically just telling her that, she's done more than enough. It's time for her to kind of slow down, focus on her husband and her family, and to go and pick a world to settle on. So Shara Bay is saying, she's going to follow her friend's orders there to find a world to settle on. In the meantime, R2-D2 is trying to get her attention, and she doesn't realize this at the time. And she says, "Oh, you're talking to me? Wait where you're going," and follows him down a corridor into a hangar bay where Luke Skywalker is waiting for her, and he's kind of joking along, saying that these Lambda-class shuttles are pretty easy to pilot, but so much easier with a co-pilot. And introduces himself to Shara Bay, and she already knows who he is. She says there's not a pilot in the Alliance who doesn't know who he is. And she's actually apologizing to him here because she almost shot him down during the Battle of Endor when he was escaping the Death Star. So he asks her if she's able to go on this quick mission out in the Merrick sector with him, because he needs to get something. And we're not sure what this is just yet, but she is honored to go with him. So along the way, during Lightspeed, Luke is actually informing her of his plan. He does have an outfit for her, or a disguise as an Imperial officer, and she'll be Imperial Officer Beck, Commander Beck, as it is. She's going to be going right into the base unventing, and she's asking, what we're doing there, and he's informing her that the Emperor stole something from, I'm assuming he's referring to the Jedi, a long time ago, and we're going to get it back. He's got the code clearances as they used on the Death Star as well, to get down to the forest moon on Endor there. Same thing. And he's actually not sure of the rest of the plan. He says, we should be able to get in the door, no problem. And for the rest, I'm going to trust in the Force. And now we see them on the second page there. We see them coming into venting flight control to unidentified T4A. They transmit their code clearances. She says who she is she's Commander Beck, and tells them to stand down immediately. They do approve their landing. She's still a little confused with Luke and what he's going to be doing, but he just says to tell them that if they ask anything, I'm your bodyguard for the time being. So they come into the landing pad. They're unloading from their ship. The Imperials are actually pretty surprised to see them, and they're not sure why that she's there or they're there in the first place. But she says that, if we had received word, Commandant, this would hardly qualify as a surprise inspection. She wants to see the security on the labs immediately. He really doesn't say too much. He just wants to know who's with her, and she says, it's a droid and my security officer. Their names are irrelevant, so let's get going. And as we see there, the Commandant is still a little bit confused of why she's there. He thinks that, the ISB would be more concerned with destroying the rebellion, especially now. They have heightened all their security measures because of the events that took place on Endor. But she's keeping firm, saying that she will attend to my concerns as she sees fit, and she says she expects the same from him. So he takes him into the inner lab. He says there are only 2 people in the galaxy who could freely access this room, and it was himself and the Emperor. And he's the only one left, of course, even though the Emperor had left his final orders. So now he says he never really understood why we needed the precaution around this room, but as they go in, we kind of see why. So they enter the inner lab, and he realizes that, it's just to study a couple of twigs. Clearly I was mistaken. And then he starts to let them know, you had all the right clearances, I'll give you that. But he knows that they're fake now. He said, you should have done your homework. Commander Beck is missing her left eye. And so now I must ask, what are they? And Luke is still, he almost seems like in a trance looking at them, and he says, clearly you know, so what makes these little trees so special that you 2 rebels would try to bluff your way in here to steal them? And Luke tells him, these are all that remain of the tree that grew at the heart of the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. The Force is with them. And then the Commandant almost starts to chuckle, and he says, the Force is meaningless, and the Jedi are extinct. And what else can you say to Luke to get him going? Bottom of the page, you couldn't be more wrong, Commandant, and we all know what's coming. So we see this 2-page spread, some awesome artwork here. Luke telling R2 now, launches his lightsaber into the air, and he's at the same time he's telling Shara and R2 to get the trees. I'll cover you. Keep them safe, pretty much at all costs, by the way. He's actually looking and saying that with the Imperials, going into panic mode, trying to get the facility put on lockdown immediately. And we see at the bottom of the page a bunch of stormtroopers coming in with Luke holding them off. So the small battle ensues, Shara Bay holding off the stormtroopers as best she can as well. Luke does yell to her when the little force field shut down, the plants or the trees will fall, so make sure she doesn't drop them and catch them before they hit the ground because they're extremely fragile. So Shara does catch the little plants or trees when the force fields go down. Luke is impressed, saying, good, stay close to him. As they move down to another corridor, we see a few stormtroopers around a large laser cannon. So they start heading down the corridor, and Luke is just annihilating everybody. He's using the Force clearly to take pieces of different types of robots and throw them around, hitting the stormtroopers out of the way, and they're not even really realizing what's going on. And then they make their way to the large laser cannon. Shara saying, you have to do something about that cannon, or we're not going to be here very long. We're going to be cut to pieces. So it looks like on the second page there that Luke does some form of force blast to obscure their vision, and jumps in and cuts the laser cannon, the nose of it right off. So just like that, they're out of the corridor. Luke saying to Shara, get to the shuttle as quick as possible. And then we have the Commandant ordering his troops, use detonators. Don't shoot at them, just use the detonators to blow them up. They throw about 3 or 4 thermal detonators his way. And then we see Luke stop them in midair, and then you see the Commandant with a little bit of a stunned look on his face, with Luke saying, that was probably your last mistake you'll ever make. And throws them back at him. We see a large explosion, and Luke saying that, we're done here, it's time to go. So with the trees now in good hands, they escape in their Imperial shuttle. And then Luke is just talking to Shara, saying, R2 overheard your conversation, and he knows that she's putting in her papers to leave the rebellion. she's saying that, I've got a son that I barely have seen since he was born. A husband I barely get to see every once in a while for an hour or so. But she does feel like she's abandoning the rebellion. And he, just goes back to using the old Jedi technique. Use your search your feelings. What do you actually think you should do? What do you feel that you have to do? But she's clearly making a good choice here. Although Luke does say he wasn't expecting there to be two trees, he was only expecting one. He knows that, one's obviously spoken for, he's keeping one. He does tell her that he was looking for a home for the second, though. So I'm not sure what kind of relevance this is going to have maybe on the story, because on the last page there, they're on a world where they're going to settle, Shara and Kess, to raise Poe and their family. And they plant the second tree right in and around their home. So the significance of that, we're not really sure. You do see a little bit of a blue glow around the tree there on the very last part of the page. So, is it, these trees used to grow in and underneath the Jedi Temple, so they have something to do with the Force. Do they resonate the Force or something like that, right?
Hey guys, a little bit later in the day, and I didn't get a chance to finish this video a little bit earlier there, but pretty much my thoughts on the Shattered Empire altogether. Pretty good series. It wasn't anything too crazy. There wasn't really no I guess secret style stuff. I mean, we didn't see a couple of new characters with the first issue. Being just kind of an overview of what happened at the Battle of Endor, and then we go right into Shara and Kes Dameron's stories a little bit through the end of the first issue. Second issue mostly Shara, third issue mostly Kes with a bit of Shara in there, and they finally meet up and see each other once again, making sure everyone was safe and good to go. They both did I guess you could say leave the rebellion, not so much leave it, but they were getting out of military service, both putting in more than enough time to make up for everything. They're just exhausted now, but they want to stop, settle down in a different world, and just raise their family, raise Poe. And we don't actually see him in the comics at all. We clearly see him in some of the trailers and stuff like that. We already know that. But what the significance of, we don't know if his parents are going to be in the movies or if something's going to happen beforehand. It's just a little bit of a backstory, even though you don't see him at all. But still really cool. You can kind of see. I wonder if they're going to put anything with the Emperor's Last Wishes in the movies, or those really cool characters. The guy had the red robe and the face that carried the message. And then we're clearly going to see a little bit of a transition from, Empire to First Order, like how that comes in, and like Supreme Leader Snoke. I really don't know anything about his backstory, but I was expecting a little bit more from Shattered. I was kind of thinking it was going to lead right into the movies, and this, clearly doesn't lead into the movies because Poe and everyone's still very young. It's just after the Battle of Endor, so it's just a little backstory. Still very cool. I still enjoyed it. Great artwork, and very interested to see what if there's any significance of those two trees. That's a cool, a neat little thing. Luke saying that the Emperor had stolen them a long time ago because they used to grow under the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, and he's clearly taking one wherever he's going to end up, or maybe try to restart the academy, maybe plant one underneath that new academy. And then Shara and Kes take the other one, and I'm not sure of the actual world that they're on, but they take it and they plant it at their home. And the last page there, you see, the tree just in the bottom corner there, and it has the nice blue glow around it. So overall thoughts, like, pretty good. Wish I could see more, but Marvel is just pounding out the Star Wars comics. So we'll keep up with everything. I might try to do a few more videos. It's a lot trying to keep up with these comics. I was trying to do one even for the first Star Wars issue there, and it just got to be too much because they're already on like 11 or 12 now, and I only did about 5 of them. But I'm gonna try to keep up and doing some more videos with anything related to Star Wars. Really, I have to. And then we'll go from there. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and let me know all your thoughts.